I'd appreciate you. Could you flip back?
Your name, please?
Oh, yeah, my name is Dan King. I'm from Toronto. Could you flip back an extra one, the one where you had the 2 years with the boxes in them with the various groups a little further? What was that? This one right here. Yeah. Okay. By the way, these slides are fantastic. Can we get a copy for our...
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, on to my question. What we're looking here is we're comparing, I guess, 2004 election compared to the 2006 election. And you look at how they actually voted. This is a very interesting transformation that I have been curious to see for some time. 04, NDP was the major voters who could have voted for us. In 06, look at where the Conservatives are. We could be stealing votes from the Conservative Party.
You could. Yeah, well, you could be. I would say that your opportunity are for those people that are voting Conservative wouldn't consider themselves right-wing Conservatives, but they're voting Conservative for change. And it's kind of like, think of yourself as a second-tier change option for a voter. And then how do you get those people that might not think of themselves as Conservatives who voted for change to skip over the Tories and potentially consider the Green Party? I think that's what you folks have to think about.
Let's give them a home.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Andrzej Chłobowski from Oakville. Well, I'd like to allude basically to the same issue. Who are we stealing the vote from? Is this really Conservatives or not? And what is the danger of us actually helping Conservatives come to power if we steal the vote from Liberals?
Oh, man. That's kind of beyond the numbers in regards to what that means. I think the reality is that what this shows is that you could pick up votes from everybody who are disappointed with our system and how it works. It doesn't matter whether they're voting Conservative. You have to remember that, we have these labels like Conservative, Liberal, New Democrat, but, for Canadians, they're just looking at who's a vehicle to represent me. And I think that's what the Green Party has to think about, how it can become a vehicle or agent of change or give voice to a certain group of Canadians, whether they be Conservative, New Democrats, Liberals, or separatists even.
Rob Taylor from Brighton. I have two brief questions. One point that you made was, how do we get our name into the public eye? For example, your poll there, I think it was the page 2 or 3, where you had the parties, Green was at the bottom. Mentally, a lot of people just say, oh, they're the bottom selection, the lowest choice. How do we get our name up there and onto polls? I'm thinking about 3 days ago in a tabloid paper, the Toronto Sun, there was a question that said, who would you vote for if there's an election tomorrow? And it said, Liberal, Conservative, don't know. That's unfair to all the other parties.
Yeah. Well, that's not really a survey.
No. Not in the Sun.
But actually, it's one of the reasons why when we ask our ballot question, we never prompt on any names or any party leaders. Because I figure that if you ask someone cleanly, how are you going to vote? Period. Full stop. If they say Green, they're voting Green. Because that's who they picked. In regards to how you get your name up there, I think, one of the realities is that the fact that you do not have a member in the House of Commons is a huge disadvantage for the party. Because you're just, in a way, when we think about not being on the menu, part of that menu is being in the House of Commons. It's kind of like when you look at the Reform Party, we're pretty well dismissed until they actually were able to have 1 or 2 members in the House. Because realistically, the media have to cover them. So, I think the tipping point is the first member. Once you have that first member, whoever he or she is, it could make it, you might be on, more of a steep curve for growth if you're smart. But, the challenge is not being in the House is a huge psychological disadvantage because, Canadians are watching the House of Commons and there's no one from the Green Party getting up there and asking a question of the government.
Right. The other question was, if I may. Yes.
Bob, that's 3 questions. Sorry. But you can ask.
Do you have any stats on things like, thinking back to college, where option C, if we had no clue, or pick the longest answer, do you have any stats on how many people have picked the first candidate on a ballot or the candidate with the longest name.
No, but there's
Somebody
a lot of
that's
there's a lot of
completely clueless, they'll say, okay, I'm going to give the first guy a chance.
realistically no, but there's a lot of anecdotal evidence that either if you're at the top of the list or the bottom of the list, that you have an advantage. But I'm not sure how the Green Party can legally take advantage of that. Sorry, Bob.
Hi, my name is Jake Cole, and I'm from Ottawa, from Carleton, Mississippi Mills, just west here of Ottawa. That one comment you just made me think that the Green Party, I think, should focus its energies on several ridings rather than trying to cover them all. But that's a comment and probably a point for a discussion another time. My specific question relates to this goodwill potential that's lying out there, and all the parties have that similar goodwill. I'm wondering what makes the Green Party's goodwill any different than the other 3 or 4 parties? Is there something that distinguishes our goodwill from their goodwill?
Well, I think one advantage in a kind of a twisted kind of way would be the fact that you have no baggage. Like, you know, the Liberals and the Conservatives and even the New Democrats, they all have baggage. Even the Bloc, because of the Parti Québécois, have baggage. You know, for Canadians, because you're not at the point where you've made the breakthrough, there's the hope. Maybe you will be what we've been waiting for. But, you know, the reality is for the accessible votes for all the other parties, they have they have large institutions behind them, but they all have baggage, provincial and federal baggage that comes with that accessible you know, in a way, you know, when we're doing research for other organizations, we kind of say better to have no image than a negative image, because you can build. You know, when you think of the blank slate, and when you think of Canadians, how are you going to draw the picture for when they think that they might vote Green, what that really means, and they can understand that, and that you try to formulate and give kind of detail to that particular vision, because you're not going to be hampered by a government, federal or provincial government, and what they've done.
Thank you.